My story with seeking forgiveness began about 3 years ago. At the time, I was suffering from a very bad psychological state, as I did not have a job, of course, nor was I married, nor did I have a car or any financial income. Fortunately for me, and praise be to God, God Almighty wished to open a path for me to goodness, as I came across a brochure that talked about seeking forgiveness and the stories of those who ask for forgiveness, in addition to watching some lectures that talked about seeking forgiveness and its great virtue. So I decided then to open a new page and try to ask for forgiveness every day 1,000 times or more. Indeed, I put my trust in God and began to ask for forgiveness. Imagine how my situation became after only 3 years. Praise be to God. I got a very good job with an excellent salary. I got married. Praise be to God. And I have a son. I also have a new car and I am blessed. I have a happy life. And these are only the main things. As for the small, good things that have changed in my life, they are very much and there is not enough space to mention them. Praise be to God. My dears, do you know why I told you my story? I told it, I swear, out of love for you and so that you can start a new page. How beautiful it is to ask God for forgiveness every day 1,000 times or more. How beautiful it is for our homes, my brothers, to become the homes of those seeking forgiveness, and our villages to become the villages of those seeking forgiveness. You know, my beloved, that God promised forgiveness in His noble book to those who seek forgiveness, and that He would send rain upon them in abundance. He also promised them that He would provide them with wealth and children, and that He would make for them gardens and rivers. Glory be to Him. He has no mercy. There is no God, but He, the most gracious, the most merciful. And how great is His bounty, and how extensive is His provision. My story with seeking forgiveness. I was sick and without marriage. The beginning was a very long time ago. I started having an obsession, first in ablution, and a little while in prayer. I was far from praying more than 10 times and far from ablution. I doubted whether I had recited Surah al-Fatiha or not. I would repeat the prayer again to the point that I was psychologically tired, but I did not give up on prayer despite this. I was sure it was wrong, untrue and unacceptable. I had a headache. My brother was very tired to the point that I hated my life and wished for death. I saw that my mother and father were tired with me, and my sisters cried for me when this happened to me. Of course, I am not married, and I have always rejected grooms without any reason without seeing them. But suddenly I found that I was on Facebook and found a group whose name I don't remember, but it was about the virtues of the Abrahamic prayer, reading Surat al-Baqarah, and seeking forgiveness. I said to myself, I'll try it. I began to ask forgiveness and pray for the messenger of God. May God bless him and grant him peace. Thank God, for a while, the headache went away, even though my mother and father were not left with a doctor or a sheikh. And prayers be upon the beloved. This is Brahakam. I continue to feel comfortable and have complete certainty that my prayers will be answered. And seriously, my prayers are answered in a very tolerant and wonderful way, thank God. Now I have patience and have reached a stage of certainty and patience when I am surprised to myself. Please say on my behalf that no one should despair of the mercy of our generous Lord. I learn from my experience that no one but God will ever stand with you. Yes, I am not married, but I am absolutely certain that I will get married as soon as possible. Especially, I have certain characteristics. I hope my story will be a hope for anyone who lacks certainty. Hello. I want to tell you my story about seeking forgiveness. I was one of the people who loved songs and television the most, and I had memorized an excessive amount of songs and I did not pray. Sometimes I would pray for a week, then I would stop praying, and in the end I would leave it 4 months, and I was not wearing a veil. My life was devastation and exaggerated distress, boredom, distress, and boredom. The important thing is that one time I heard about asking for forgiveness and making wishes come true. So I kept asking for forgiveness 100 times a day, and sometimes 200 times. I did not see a difference in my life. After about a month, my co-worker suggested that we do an asking for forgiveness challenge, and this was the beginning. I kept asking for forgiveness on the 1000th and 3000th day until I reached 5000, and from here, glory be to God, my personality changed. I could no longer listen to songs or watch television, and I continued to feel calm and reassured. I continued to pray the 5 daily prayers on time, and I hijabed, and I remained respectful to my father and loved to listen. I read the Quran and many beautiful things. I have continued to love all acts of obedience and worship, and I hate sins and anything I think about and wish to achieve. My life started to change about 3 months after I started asking for forgiveness. Sorry, it took me so long, but I wanted to share my experience with you. From private, peace be upon you, by telling my story. For me, the biggest turning point in my relationship with my Lord is asking for forgiveness, even though I was close to my Lord. But when I started asking for forgiveness 4,000 times, today the situation has changed and I have become closer to the point where I have reached the successive seal, and praise be to God, I finish the seal and start sealing it. The world becomes narrow for me if I do not read the Quran. For me, 50 pages became like 5 pages, and 100 pages became like 10. Praise be to God for His mercy and grace. I had a disruption in my studies, although I was good at studying, but I excelled. Then suddenly I began to not understand anything at all, even simple information. Not only was I unable to memorize it, I was not even able to confirm whether the information was correct or not, even though I had the book in front of me and all the evidence in front of me. In short, I was doubting myself, and my understanding of every piece of information was studying. Then I saw Ruqayya Fod Al-Khani on TikTok and tried it. Thank God, I opened up to the world and discovered that I was envied when I was not at home. I excelled in my college and my grades rose. After Eid al-Fitr, I decided to conclude with the intention that God would increase my intelligence and sound mind. Thank God, God willing, I currently know information that I have never known or studied, and this is from the grace and mercy of my Lord, my beloved.